Family history, absolutely. So family history is really important, and the reason why I emphasize that is that that's the one thing that many people are aware of. But would you guys be surprised if I told you the number of women that have the type of breast cancer that's from genes? By show of hands, you think it's 50%? 30%? 20%? 10%? You guys aren't raising hands. Yes, less than 20%, actually more around the average, about 10 to 12% is affected, is the type that's affected by family history. So if there's anything that you don't take away from this talk today, I want to emphasize that just because you don't have a family history, that is not exempt you from being at risk. Because most women, when they're diagnosed with a new breast cancer, didn't have a family history and they didn't have the cancer gene. So I don't want that to discourage you from getting your screening. So, in regards to screening, being aware of what those guidelines are, what's the age? Yes, absolutely, starting at the age 40. So many of the major medical associations, including the American Cancer Society, we're emphasizing still doing your annual screening starting at age 40. But if you have a family history, you may want to get screened sooner. For some women, that's 35, but you just talk to your healthcare provider, see what is right for you. So we talked about the A, that's being aware of your anatomy, being aware of the risk factors, also being aware of the screening guidelines. The next is B. So B is kind of challenging, and that B is something that is challenging because it's our behavior. So there's things that we can do or things that we can change to lower our risk. Most of what I just talked about, things you can't change. You can't change your age, you can't change your family history, but you can change your behavior. So some of the things that we know that can reduce our risk of breast cancer is in relationship to what? Yes. Absolutely. So culinary choices, she mentioned diet and exercise, that's a huge factor. So what the research shows is that exercise, moderate exercise, does reduce your risk of developing breast cancer. And when you think of exercise, what do you think of?
Now what I'm here to talk about is colon cancer. And colon cancer is one of the most preventable cancers that we know of. Let me say that again. Colon cancer is one of the most preventable cancers that we know of. Let me say it again. Colon cancer is one of the most preventable cancers that we know of. Now, what do we know? I'm sorry. Oh, is that better? Now, what do we know about colon cancer? Well, we know that it ranks number 2 in cancer-related deaths in both men and women. We also know that, of course, African Americans, we always get the short end of the stick. We tend to be diagnosed at a much further advanced stage than anyone. Okay, we'll talk about reasons why later. Also, 140,000 people will be diagnosed with colon cancer this year. 50,000 people will die of colon cancer. So colon cancer is something that we need to address, especially in the African American community. And it's something that we can really treat. You know, it's very few cancers that gives us an age time that we can know about. Because we don't really start looking for it until around 45 to 50. We also have equipment that we can use to even prevent it from even becoming cancer. So the basic things that we do, the types of screening that we do, classically what I do is what's called a colonoscopy. And colonoscopy is what everybody's nightmare is. Most people say the worst part about a colonoscopy is the night before. And we all know you have to drink that prep the night before. Now we do have many more preps, so you don't have to drink that big jug anymore, depending on if you have any other health conditions. But for the most part, they all taste bad, I'm not gonna lie to you. But we have much smaller amounts that you have to drink. The colonoscopy, you drink the laxative the night before, you come in that day, we give you a little medicine to make you sleepy. Yes, for the most part, it's the same medicine that Michael Jackson had. But you will be supervised by an anesthesiologist in a hospital setting. And I guarantee you, I will not to step out of the room and see me talk to my wife. Be there with you the whole time. Most people say it's the best sleep they've ever had. I always tell my patients.
Hello everyone, my name is Sonia Jolivet, and I have an unusual talent. I make wigs out of potato chips. Yes, I figured you would react that way. And so I started designing these wigs because I used to make wigs, I still do. I make wigs for cancer patients. But so many children have touched my heart because their wigs, they look older than the child. So I started my own wig collection. And with that, a friend challenged me one day. And he said, Sonia, you're always making wigs and it comes so easy. Why don't you make a wig out of those Doritos that you're eating all the time? So I said, why? He said, because I know you can. So with that, and without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my designer line of wigs called Chipalicious. Right. Let the show begin. This wig takes me about 2 hours to make if I'm not sipping on a little wine. These wigs are edible. They are in their natural state. I do not treat the wigs. I just make them and I eat them. The only treatment that this wig has is hairspray to keep the bugs away. Because they're for us and not the bugs.
Those potato chips. This was one of my favorite designs. I call this one Pringles Couture.